How you doing today, guys? Want to show you my EDC, kind of give a re-review, a overview, whatever you want to call it. And definitely a review, kind of an update though. You might want to call it a re-review of the 204P Spyderco Paramilitary 2. Most of you guys have owned a Paramilitary 2 in the past. I just am really impressed with these knives here. We are going to more focused on this 204P because that's the one I've used the most, but I'm kind of going to go over why I love the Para 2 so much. And a lot of you guys have preached to the choir here, if you know what I mean. You already have these knives. You've already probably fell in love with them, and they're just very nice EDC knives. For one, I really appreciate Spyderco's blade shape here, being it's still pointy. It's a great piercing knife, full flat grind blade, right? And has the distill taper that comes all the way down. It's a great piercing knife. It is made to cut. It is totally designed to fit most people's hands perfectly. In a full grip here, you got this back that comes down. I don't need to tell you guys why the Paramilitary is so great. It's awesome. This video is more an update on my 204P Para. So this is the sprint run. You can see I've laid the angle back quite a bit on mine. I have had zero problems with chipping. Still very sharp. If you're not familiar with exactly what 204P is, I've said it in a bunch of my videos in the past, and most of you guys already know this. This is coming off that app, the Steel Chart app. So there's your, it's the equivalent to the Bowler Udenholm M390. And it says Duratec 20 CV. I did not know that. Slightly more tungsten over the 2 manufacturer process. As for the Gen 2 process, should produce a fine powder as Bowler's Gen 3 powder metallurgy does. In other words, generation numbers are specific to specific steel makers. Yes, and not directly comparable. We know that, right? So in my experience, the 204P steel is awesome, but I wouldn't say it's an exact equivalent of the M390. Maybe that's the difference in heat treat. Maybe it's just the difference in my Benchmade M390 and Benchmade's heat treat, because that's the only real world experience I have with M390 is my Benchmade Ritter Griptilian. And then I've got my 204P in my Paramilitary, which I've had the longest, and then I've got it in this Southern as well too. But I've definitely put more use on this. It is a very impressive using steel. Hard-working steel, no issues with edge chipping, edge rolling. It is a very fine powdered steel, and you can see it takes an incredible polish, stays sharp for very long. Trying to get a shot of all the scratches and stuff in this blade. My camera's just not going to pick it up, but this thing has seen some use. Now, of course, the Paramilitary 2 design in general has this edge that goes all the way up to the choil area. Some are really against that and will grind their own little choil or file it in there. That's a good way to do it. I personally, on my user knives, that I'm not too worried about looks. I'm not too worried if it gets scratched or beat up. To me, this is a hard-working workhorse that happens to look pretty good in my opinion. So I leave it right back all the way to the edge, but you do have some issues when you try to sharpen all the way down to that base there. You can see where I've bumped some of my stones on that there. I'm a little more, not a little, I'm a little less cautious with my own knives. Can I word it that way? If I was sharpening this for a customer or because I did some custom work on it, I would definitely be a lot more mindful of that. And I could definitely put a sharpening notch in there very quickly, but I do not want to. I like that the edge goes all the way back to the base, and I can get it pretty sharp. You can see about right there where it cuts off. I don't know. I like it because when I'm using this thing upside down, right, and I'm doing my pull cuts through there, I've got edge right here. There's nothing to snag on. If I'm cutting a piece of paracord or something, there's nothing that's going to catch on that edge. So I don't know. I like the way they do it, but I understand why some people want that little sharpening notch or choil in there. But to me, it's a tool. That's what I'm reviewing this as. Just a hard... Was I almost going to say hard use? Almost said it. I'm going to say it. It is a hard use cutting tool. Imagine that. I would not hesitate to cut anything with these knives. You know, within reason, a folding knife. I wouldn't take it out and start batoning firewood. If I did, I would not have it locked. I'm going to do that video one day. I'm going to take my Open L and I'm going to go baton wood because I think it could do it if you just had the blade not locked. If I were to put this on the wood, right, and then just start batoning it, don't be stupid and get way out here near the tip. You know, within reason, a little tiny piece of kindling or something with it not locked. I think it would hold up. I really do. I think a lot of people have a lot of misconceptions. And a lot of people don't understand. If you really, really had to baton wood with your folder, unlock the blade. And then you hold it like that and you're pounding it through. That way all that pressure is not going back to the lock. I've got that on some of my videos that I did where I broke down the Paramilitary 2 and went over why I think the lock is so great. Within reason. Cold Steel broke. I just watched that video the other day where Cold Steel made this lock fail. All in all, even with the compression, okay, it's still ramped, which means with enough pressure, with a very strong wrap on a spine whack, this blade could squirt out the back. So you might want to go check out their test. Not the strongest lock in the world, but very efficient for its weight and very easy to use. So even though the frame lock is not the strongest lock in the world, it's still my favorite lock. This is right up there with it. It allows very easy action to use. It's very fun to play with. I feel it is strong enough for any EDC cutting task that I would ask out of it. So I like it. I still stand by the compression lock as like probably my number 2 favorite. Maybe number 3. Maybe it goes frame lock, liner lock, compression lock. And then probably 4th would be like the Demco Triad lock. I know, why would it be that far down? Because I think my folding knives do not need to have the Triad lock for me to put them in my pocket, carry them, use them, and feel confident carrying them. You know, this is strong enough for me. It's very strong. You know, could you argue, is it stronger than a frame lock or not as strong? I don't know. I'm not a scientist. I broke this knife down a few different times and have went over all the reasons I feel like it's a very strong, stronger than a regular liner lock. That compression right there when you go to pull this blade down, if you're trying to spine whack it and close it this way, right, that tab in there pinches up against the stop pin. But please go check out Cold Steel's video and you will see that they did make this lock fail. But it did pass. It failed like its first spine whack and then passed all the other ones. When it come time to hang the weight on it, I think it failed around 90 pounds or so of constant pressure down. But all in all, I'm not going to ask that out of my knife. And I know some people are saying, well, you know, things can happen. Yeah, they can happen, right? A meteor could fall out of the sky as I'm making this video and smash me to bits. But I don't live my life worrying about stuff like that. So, you know, yeah, things could happen. I still stand by the Paramilitary 2 with thousands of you guys and say it's a wonderful knife. To me, I don't know. I would like to get that M4 Para that's coming out. It is out. But I've been very happy with the 2 I own. This is just a regular S30V with the DLC coating on it. Very strong coating. No chipping. You can see where it's taking on some scratches on the top of the blade. A lot of my knives get scratched up here. Do you guys do the same thing? I think it's because my jeans sometimes will have the exposed rivet in the pocket. And when you slide it down, it just scratches down the whole rivet of your pocket of your jeans. Does that make sense? That's what I think. Because it seems to happen there and then stop right there. And I bet if I took and cleaned it off real good, that's just aluminum that has bumped up against that coating. I bet that coating's not really scratched. Sometimes you'll see pictures of people cutting like a Pepsi can or a beer can in half and their blades all marked up. Their Strider, hard use, bro. Use your use your ass, right? I'm not gonna cuss on my video here. There might be children watching. But really all that is aluminum that has rubbed on the blade, and that will come right off. So anyways, they function beautifully. Very smooth action. They're very addictive to play with. Right? Love the paramilitary too. For all you guys who snagged that natural G10 with the M4, congratulations. I might pick one up eventually. Right now I'm just super happy with this. I do love M4 though. I love that the M4 will take a patina where these two guys obviously will not. And I love that natural G10 on the one that just come out. So anyways, we'll see. Like I said in my collection rambling video though, I'm happy with where my collection's at. If I don't score that knife, it's cool. Maybe I'll score it a year or two from now. Should I make a separate video on that or just go over that now? I get a lot of people asking about that. The under flick. I made a video on this years and years and years ago. I think I called the video the flea flicker or something like that. I don't know why. Silly. I'm not saying I invented it, but this is an old technique that I've been using a long time. So you come underneath. I use my middle finger, and I'm really good at doing that to people. No, I'm just kidding. But most Spydercos and most knives, it's kind of a up motion combined with an out motion. So it's about right here. So you kind of flick this way with your middle finger, and it's just like you're flicking something. Right? It helps me if I catch my nail on the back there, so my finger's not buried in here. Alright, you can't flick it real good, right? But I just catch my nail right there in that spider hole or thumb stud, and I flick it out. It's fast. I could pull this out of my pocket and have it out in one motion. Pull it out, it's out. It's amazing how fast you can get it out there. Very addictive knife though. Mine has been holding up beautifully. And again, saying it for the third, fourth time. Super impressed with the 204P. And I've been real happy. That app had mentioned that you will need to keep about a 15 degree per side edge to get the best performance. Thinner than that, and you will run into the issue with the thin edge not being able to support all those carbides that make the edge perform. Working hardness can reach that and that. 62. Yeah. So, anyways, I think I'm a little bit lower than 15 here. Have not had any issues at all. You know, is my use maybe a little more educated than if I just handed this knife to a guy who's not a knife guy? Is your use a little more educated than that? Probably. You'd probably be safe, just like I'm safe, going down a little lower than 15. Like I said in that, getting the most out of your super steels. Pull that edge down, you know, as much as you can stand visually, and you're going to get more performance. Understand that's more of a slicing, actual cutting geometry in your edge, and if you're really out there twisting, right, you're really making your hot dog sticks or whatever you're doing where you're really twisting, you might not want to go that thin. You might maybe just keep it at that 15 as recommended by the app over here. You know, there you go. In that app they had also mentioned how fine the carbide is. They talk about some sharpening stuff. This is a great little app. Fine-grained alloy, popular choice for high-end folders. Excellent performance with both a coarse and high polished edge. So that's good information to know. You know, I have found that a highly polished edge is really my taste. I have no problems cutting tomatoes, anything like that. Love 204P. That's good. Maybe not quite as good as M390, but definitely up there. And I have zero complaints. I love the dark green handle on this particular Sprint Run too. That will be for another video. Do you guys use your Sprint Run Paras or Sprint Run any Spyderco? To me, I use it like it's an awesome way to get new steel in your hand and stuff on your favorite model of knife. And I don't really collect knives as being something that's going to increase value and I'm going to sell them and make money on my collection. I purchase these style factory knives, even the higher end production knives, to be cutting tools that are going to go into my carrying rotation. That's my mindset. Yours may be different, and that's fine. But I just like putting them to use. I know a lot of you guys too understand the collecting side of things, but I'm just curious. What is the general overall consensus? Are you buying your Sprint Runs as an investment? Maybe for trade bait later on, new knife comes out and you got this rare 204P brand new, inbox that's 3 years old, and then you trade it for something else new. I don't know. It's fun to see how you guys operate. I think most are using them, but anyways, that is the re-review with a heck of a ramble on some 204P. My thoughts on the Para 2. It's still probably in my top 3 knives, possibly of all time, but also definitely one of my top 3 knives that I would recommend to somebody. If somebody said to me, hey, what Spyderco should I get? I only want to get one Spyderco. You know what? This will be in one of my top 3 contentions for that recommendation, depending on what they're looking for. There might be another Spyderco that I would recommend if you're looking for maybe a $80 Spyderco, or you're looking for $150, $200, or maybe you're looking for a $300 Spyderco. It depends on your needs and uses, but I think this will fit most everyday guy, doing your everyday stuff, probably perfectly. Probably if you had the Para 2 or you do have it, there's really no other big need for another folder in your arsenal. There wouldn't be mine. If you made me sell every single knife and I just had to lock them up, give them away, couldn't carry anything else, and I only got left with this, really I don't think there'd be many jobs that I personally need in my EDC that I could not do with this knife. There may be some prying tasks, but then again, a knife is made to cut, and that's what this is. It is made to cut. So, even more rambling. Holy smokes. Thanks for hanging out, guys. Videos like these are always fun. I just go off the rails and I have no idea what's going to come out of my mouth. See ya.